In the shadow of the Cold War, Japan found itself at the crossroads of global tension and rapid technological advancement. From the late 1940s through to the late 1980s, the world was gripped by a struggle between two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. This standoff, marked by the constant threat of nuclear confrontation, shaped the politics and daily lives of millions. At the heart of this global chessboard, Japan occupied a unique and precarious position. Rebuilding itself from the devastation of World War II, the nation swiftly grew into an economic powerhouse. Yet it was also geographically and strategically vulnerable. Sandwiched between the Soviet Union to the north and Communist China and North Korea to the west, Japan was keenly aware that it was not immune to the escalating hostility between East and West. During these tense decades, the looming prospect of nuclear war prompted many nations to reconsider the ways they protected their populations. In Japan, this concern took shape beneath the surface, literally. Secret underground bunkers and complex subterranean cities were constructed as part of a nationwide effort to shield civilians, government officials, and critical infrastructure from possible nuclear blasts and fallout. While the idea of fallout shelters was not unique to Japan, the scale and sophistication of these hidden networks set them apart. Japanese cities, known for their dense urban landscapes and limited land availability, presented a special challenge. To maximize safety without sacrificing space, planners turned to the vast potential below ground. Beneath the bustling streets of Tokyo, Osaka, and other major urban centers, sprawling underground complexes were carved out. These subterranean refuges were designed to be self-sustaining and secure, equipped with air filtration systems, medical facilities, and provisions to support life for extended periods. The aim was to create environments where people could survive the immediate impact of a nuclear strike and the dangerous aftermath, including radiation and chemical contamination. What makes these underground cities particularly fascinating is how well hidden they have remained over the decades. Many were built under the cover of secrecy, sometimes integrated beneath existing subway lines, government buildings, or industrial zones. To the casual observer, the entrances and exits are obscure or disguised, blending seamlessly into the urban fabric. This deliberate anonymity was part of the design, to protect the bunkers from enemy detection and potential sabotage. The construction of these bunkers was supported by Japan's alliance with the United States, which maintained a significant military presence in the country throughout the Cold War. Joint exercises and informational exchanges about civil defense were common, contributing to the planning and building of these underground shelters. While Japan's pacifist constitution limited military expansion, investment in civil defense infrastructure remained a priority, reflecting both government concern and public anxiety. By the time the Cold War began to thaw, many of these bunkers stood ready beneath Japan's cities, largely unknown to the public. Today, they represent a chilling reminder of an era when the world stood on the brink of nuclear disaster. After World War II, Japan found itself navigating a complex and uncertain security environment. The devastation of the atomic bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki was still fresh in the nation's memory, shaping public and governmental attitudes toward nuclear weapons and the need for protection. While Japan adopted a pacifist constitution, renouncing the right to maintain military forces for warfare, the geopolitical realities of the Cold War compelled policymakers to confront the potential threat of nuclear conflict on home soil. Japan's strategic location placed it perilously close to several communist nations with expansive military ambitions. The Soviet Union, positioned just north across the Sea of Japan and the Kuril Islands, represented a significant threat after World War II. To the west, China, having emerged from its civil war under communist control, aligned with the Soviet bloc. North Korea's 1950 invasion of South Korea illustrated how regional conflicts could quickly escalate, further heightening Japanese concerns about security and stability in East Asia. Amid these tensions, the Japanese government initiated a series of civil defense programs aimed at mitigating the impact of a possible nuclear strike. While explicit military expansion was off the table due to constitutional constraints and public sentiment, civil protection infrastructure became a focal point for national security. Declassified government documents from the post-war era reveal careful planning around air raid preparedness and fallout shelter construction. These documents show that from the 1950s onward, civil authorities worked closely with experts in engineering and urban planning to integrate bomb-resistant underground facilities into Japan's rapidly growing cities. Tokyo, Japan's political and economic heart, became a testing ground for many of these initiatives. Infrastructure studies conducted in the 1970s describe extensive excavation and reinforcement projects beneath government buildings, transport hubs, and densely populated neighborhoods. Features commonly included thick concrete walls designed to withstand blast pressures, multiple sealed entrances to prevent contamination, and advanced ventilation systems equipped with filters capable of removing radioactive particles and chemical agents. These bunkers were not mere storage spaces. They were envisioned as living environments. Medical stations, storerooms stocked with food and water, and communication centers were integral to the design, ensuring continuity of governance and survival in the chaos following an attack. In addition to official civil defense shelters, some industrial complexes constructed their own underground bunkers. Factories involved in critical manufacturing or research projects included reinforced subterranean areas to protect personnel and sensitive materials. The integration of these facilities with nearby public networks was sometimes subtle, making them difficult to distinguish without access to restricted planning documents. Public awareness of these bunkers was minimal, and much of their existence remains obscured. However, urban explorers and researchers have documented a handful of known Cold War-era bunkers still accessible today. For example, beneath parts of Tokyo's Marunouchi district, a significant financial hub, there exist complex underground chambers originally built to house government officials and maintain command operations during emergencies. Similarly, Osaka hosts subterranean shelters connected to its vast subway system, designed to double as evacuation centers if needed. These preserved sites offer valuable insights into the scale and sophistication of Cold War civil defense efforts in Japan. The strategic significance of Japan's Cold War underground bunkers lies in their role as both practical shelters and symbolic statements of preparedness during a time of great uncertainty. These subterranean cities were not only designed to protect lives, but also to ensure the continuity of government operations and critical industries in case of nuclear conflict. Their complexity reflects Japan's understanding that civil defense needed to be integrated into the very fabric of urban life, especially in a country where land is scarce and population density is high. Despite their importance, most of these underground facilities remain closed to the public, concealed behind layers of security and bureaucratic control. The precise current use of many of these sites is uncertain, as official details have rarely been released, and some may have been repurposed for military or governmental functions unrelated to civil defense. Others might simply lie dormant, frozen relics of a bygone era. This secrecy presents a significant challenge for researchers and historians aiming to fully document and understand the scale and state of Japan's Cold War underground infrastructure. Access restrictions, limited archival releases, and the passage of time have contributed to gaps in the historical record. While urban explorers have uncovered a few known bunkers, these glimpses represent only a fraction of the full network. Additionally, ongoing urban development and modernization threaten to erase or obscure these underground spaces permanently. The lack of comprehensive public information means that many of these shelters remain hidden not only physically, but also in collective memory. Yet, what can be pieced together about these secret cities provides valuable insight into the mindset and fears of their era. The bunkers embody the very real anxieties driven by nuclear uncertainty, reflecting a society balancing between pacifism and the imperative to protect its people and institutions. Japan's approach to civil defense was uniquely shaped by this contradiction. Its constitution forbade offensive military buildup, but still sought to create robust safeguards against existential threats, constructing resilient underground environments beneath some of its busiest and most important urban areas. The bunkers also illustrate a broader pattern seen in several Cold War nations, with a specter of nuclear war inspired large-scale infrastructure projects aimed at survival and continuity. However, Japan's reliance on subterranean strategies was distinctive, shaped by geographical constraints and post-war policies. These facilities stand today as silent witnesses to the tension and determination of the Cold War years. Though much remains hidden or uncertain, the remaining underground bunkers and tunnels serve as stark reminders of a time when the possibility of global catastrophe was woven into everyday life. They reveal how Japan confronted Cold War fears through engineering ingenuity and careful planning, prioritizing protection beneath the surface rather than expanding traditional military capabilities. Exploring their legacy invites reflection on how nations balance openness with secrecy, peace with preparedness, and memory with anonymity. These secret cities remain, for now, buried in mystery, part of the unseen landscape of the Cold War that continues to shape Japan's historical narrative and strategic mindset.